Hello and welcome back to Asian Pulse. I'm your host, Shivangni Naikar, and we are broadcasting from the unceded territories of the Kwantlen, Silvertooth, and Squamish nations. Summer is finally here, and if you are going out in the sun, make sure to apply sunscreen lotion of SPF 30 or more and reapply it as many times as possible because you will be in direct sunlight. And keep an eye on your elderly parents, neighbors that you live near. Happy Christian Mashtami, which is happening on August 12th and will go on until August 19th. This celebration is for the birth of Lord Krishna. On behalf of the team here at Asian Pulse, wishing you a happy Janmashtami. We'll be right back from these words from our sponsors.
I understand how important it is to have a place called home, and it's frustrating using your hard-earned money on rent. Vic Prasad can make you a homeowner. Get pre-approved services provided to first-time buyers and new immigrants. You can qualify for mortgage even if you have bad credit. Call Vic Prasad now on 604-306-6647. Vic Prasad is associated with Craft Mortgages Canada Incorporated. I understand how important it is to have a place called home, and it's frustrating using your hard-earned money on rent. Vic Prasad can make you a homeowner. Get pre-approved services provided to first-time buyers and new immigrants. You can qualify for mortgage even if you have bad credit. Call Vic Prasad now on 604-306-6647. Vic Prasad is associated with Craft Mortgages Canada.
For astrology service, life horoscope, and fortune telling, marriage problem, love problem, divorce problem, money problem, personal or business, all types of puja and havan. Call Pandit Lakshminath Guruji 1604-849-4872, serving Alberta and BC.
Thank you sponsors, and if you'd like it to highlight your business on our show, email us at asianpulse@gmail.com. Now we have Dr. Roderick Lal, PhD scholar and a professor at York University. He is a registered clinical counselor, and he is trained in youth, couple, and family counseling. He is here to talk about mental health. Have a look.
Hello and welcome to Asian Pulse. My guest today is Dr. Roderick Lal, PhD. He wrote a book called Emerging from the Shadows for racialized students on mental health. He's a clinical counselor. He works one-on-one counseling and a couple counseling. So he has a vast history or the experience of working and doing counseling with youth, family, and anybody and everybody. So he's my guest today, and today we're going to be focused a little bit more about mental health on youth, because we talk about mental health. During the pandemic, we all went through mental health. There's no denial about that. But I think the pandemic is over and people are getting back to work, adults, resuming their life where they left off. But with the youth, I think this mental health is still a dilemma. And there are a lot of youth are still faced with mental health, depression, anxiety, and all that. So that's what we are going to be talking about today. So welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Camille. I really appreciate it.
Okay. So how are you?
I'm doing very good. The pandemic has really affected people's mental health, but if you have a good foundation of good health and physical health and mental health, you tend to surpass that.
But when we talk about good foundation, I think we as an adult, we know, we recognize, we take care of our body, and even for mental health or anxiety and all that, we know how to deal with it, right?
Right.
But when we talk about the youth, and because of the peer pressure, because of were not able to hang out with their friends and all that, and so they are still living with, and they don't recognize that their body is not the same, or their mental health is not the same.
True. It's, all youth, whether they're Indian, South Indian, white, go through a process of biological, mental, and physical growth, right? But the key to understanding youth of color, especially South Asian living in the lower mainland, they tend to have some issues of systemic racism, acculturation, family issues, and issues of, let's say, of Indo-Fijian youth. Sometimes when they engage other Indians from from the continent, they may have also issues with that construct too. And also, there's a differential between male and female youth, especially from the age of 13 to 18. This is one of the greatest gaps of issues that in the South Asian community we don't seem to focus on. And if we can focus on them, maybe we can help the children's of all of the groups that we engage in. Yeah.
So when you say that the age group between 13 to 18, they are going through a lot of hormonal changes and identity, self-identifying themselves and all that.
Right.
So how do you know that your son, daughter, your grandkid, they have this mental health or they have anxiety issues?
Well, one of the key things is if they come from a family that's a stability there and they can talk to their parents, then it's a great forward step. But unfortunately, there are times when they observe issues of domestic violence. That creates a great deal of mental health issue for the coming from a private area compared to from a public area, which is going to school, where the teachers or the, other people are quite systemically racist towards Indian people. But it's changing a little bit right now. But the key to understand is that they are going through hormonal change, peer gravitation towards peers that they would prefer to engage in, and on the back whole of it, there's always some kind of a gang that they might join if they don't find somebody that have mental health issues, whether it comes from family, systemic racism, unable to find themselves. And this is a key construct to understand. And one of the key things for people of South Asian background, whether you're from Fiji, Sikh, or Indian background, finding yourself at age 15, at 16, 17 is quite different, because you might have to live sometimes a double life. Privately at home, you are not, especially from a female perspective, you are not supposed to wear certain things. You're not supposed to go out and do things. You're not supposed to go to a dance and things like that. And so publicly, this young girl, female youth, tends to have a different life. As soon as she comes home, she changes up, right? So there's a duality of life. Males, youth, sometimes are unable to join the clubs, unable to fit into the school environment, because we are talking about where the vast majority of the time, people who are youth who are 13 to 18 tend to be attending schools, right? And if they move from Vancouver to Surrey, it's sometimes a positive effect, because there's a multiculturalism in Surrey, and they can say, oh, okay, I can expand on my own culture, my own religion, and my own language, right? And at the same time, they may not have that freedom at home to expand what they desire to be, especially from a female youth perspective. And the key to understanding is suppressing and stress created by what's happening, the instability of the home creates stress, which leads to anxiety and depression. And this creates an environment, a learning environment at school, learning environment of being able to integrate to their own friends, and finding themselves who they are. Because there's a trigger mechanism unconsciously, because all the issues that they see, first of all, they've experienced systemic racism, family issues at home, maybe not a good place to live, and things like that. These are just some of the issues. But the key over here is if the parents can see that something is an issue with a loving youth, you can't call them a child. They are a youth, and they are expanding to becoming themselves in the contemporary society that they're living in, right? This is particularly in regards to females. The males they have a more difficult time to feel in the society that we're living in to be the construct of masculinity, okay? Where you see hockey, the construct of hockey, and hockey tends to be a very aggressive and violent sport, unlike cricket, which is not a violent sport, okay? And so wherever they encounter the environment that they go to, whether it's in Surrey, whether it's in Vancouver, there seems to be systemic sense of hostility or violence that they see, whether it's in sports, whether it's in the environment, it could be at home, or even in TV, right? So for the male, the idea of being a male is, to be aggressive. And it may be not where the parents are teaching that, but it's the social media, the outside environment that's creating that, right? And the key thing that I would like to say is that when a youth comes at age 15 to Canada, this person, whether male or female, knows the language, the religion, the philosophy of way of life. They have a more balanced view of the world, okay, for quite a long time. But I've experienced this even with my family, and also the second generation that are born here, from the age of kindergarten going to high school, the systemic racism by the teachers, surprisingly, even though I worked in the school, the administration, the student, and it creates an environment of a negative sense of emotional and psychological growth for both male and female student of color, especially South Asian at that time. So that's one of the key things parents should understand, that the second generation don't seem to do well compared to the person that came at age 15. And so they should be more supportive of the child. They may have come at age 30. They can't imagine what the child is going through because they did not experience it themselves. Yeah. They may physically have experienced it, but because they have a foundational base of themselves, right? They can, good people, they are like that all the time. And things like that. I can do better, I got a job and things like that. But when you are born here and from kindergarten all the way to high school, this is where you find yourself and developing your own mental and physical and your spiritual self, it's damaged due to the hostility and racial environment that some of these students appear to have.
I'm kind of surprised when you say that between that age from kindergarten to grade 10 or grade 9 or whatever.
Or grade 12.
Grade 12 to be really honest. I mean, that age group, that most of the time our kids face racism by the teachers.
That's a good point that you're making. Remember, I've worked in the school environment before, taught at the university environment, and as a teacher and as a counselor, the teachers are being programmed by a educational process. This is the way we're going to do it. This is the right way of doing it. You better change your attitude and values and beliefs. This is what the teachers are telling a person from a South Asian background, a Punjabi background, right? This is Canada. This is the way we're going to do it. Imagine what kind of emotional and psychological effects that happens to the student from grade 1 to grade 12.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the key constructs.
So the kids are living two lives, okay?
Yeah.
One is the home life,
Yeah.
that people are very loving and
Yeah.
there is no domestic violence and they're raising the best kids or whatever,
Yeah.
giving all the love, support and everything what the kid is needing, what is needed in the family. And the second one is once a kid leaves home and goes in the caretaker of, in the school system.
Yeah.
So there is, where do they balance? Where do they come in the middle and just say, well, I can still have my culture, my religion, my language, and have my own food. And then when they go to school, they are taught something different. There is another side of that.
That's true. But the key over here, it's changing because especially it's changing in Surrey because it's more multicultural in Surrey compared to Vancouver at one time.
Yeah.
This is why the second generation born over here in the 80s, 90s had a horrific time occurring in the Vancouver, Burnaby area. But as it becomes more multiculturalistic, the schools are changing, and fortunately or unfortunately, some parents are not challenging the dominant white teachers' point of view. Hey, there's many ways of seeing this thing, and the dominant white group teacher tends to penetrate all the stuff that they've been taught. This is right and wrong and things like that. And so this is the key that creates mental anguish, stress. And that's why some of the second generation do not do well at school. And I take that same kid and put them either in Fiji or in India, the energy will go, it's a different energy of succeeding because all of the parents' resource goes to education because Indian people, South Indian people know the value of education, and to progress upwards, and so that's
So, okay, we are talking about two groups of people. One is the people of color or the youth of color or the girl, boy, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And the other one is the other white.
Yeah.
So do you think, or when, just because we are saying that's why our children don't do very well, do you think the white kid doing well during that period of time?
Do you know what? They are fortunate that if they want to do well, they can do well because everything comes from their perspective.
Okay.
Okay?
Only if they want to do it.
If they want to do it. Unfortunately for the Indian students, what they've been taught by the parents, right, and going to school creates a disintegration of the knowledge and the requirement of learning process, right? So if the parents want to have the kids do well, show them that there's several ways of looking at the values and variables in the world, right? And let it go what the teacher is saying, and then believe in it and get a better mark so they can go to university and so forth. I mean, if you're living in Surrey, it's fortunate that you have SFU. Now UBC is building another building, and there's another universities coming up also over here. So, education is a way of freeing yourself, especially in the university environment. But at the a secondary environment, an elementary environment, it's still not as multicultural as it should be, and this creates stress and anxiety and depression for our children. So that's the key to understand, and basically that's it. But one of the other things when the family moves from, let's say, from Vancouver or Burnaby to Surrey because they think, this is going to be a good area. For Indo-Fijians, there's some issues involved, okay, and sometimes I call them ethnic Indo-Fijians as ethnic chameleons because they can pass as whether they can be Sikh, Punjabi, Arabs, Aboriginal people, and so most people don't know them. Not only that, when somebody from the subcontinent of India asks them, who are you? Do you belong to a caste? Do you belong? What religion do you belong to? What is your language that you speak? And the idea of an Hindi bot is quite different than the language of the language of Indian Hindi. So it kind of also kind of creates for Indo-Fijians some issues too. But for some reason, some Indian youth just bypass everything and they do well.
So do you think the parents of those brown kids, our kids, that they are involved with the school system, they go and meet with the teacher, they go to teacher-parent interview, and they talk very constant in talking with the teachers in school, their kids do much better? Because sometimes I find we as parents or grandparents, we don't take, if my kid is got A and B and all that in school, I don't have to go see the teacher because he's fine.
Right.
Or I don't have no time.
But the key over here is to go on the first parent meeting in October, okay?
Yes.
Especially in grade 8 and grade 12.
Okay.
Because grade 12 is a process of going to university.
Yeah.
And you want to know who the teachers are and what are the biases and how they teach and how are they focusing on certain issues, history, geography, and issues like that, and math. And when I tell other teachers that the construct of zero decimal and comes from the Hindu society, they can't believe it. From decimal to 0 to 9, it's all from the Indian society. And that when I tell the kids that in my classes, and I did that, they become really appreciative of mathematics, and they really move forward. And whether it's meditation, yoga, I bring up the idea of how Indian society has changed the world globally. Whether you're in Europe, Sweden or something like that, people doing yoga and meditation, they appreciate the idea of Hindu philosophy in Indian society. So you providing them with a positive affirmation of their culture. But unfortunately, 90% of the, if I can say, Gora teachers, Caucasian teachers, don't have the history understanding of Indian culture and what we have given to the world. And so that's construct.
So tell me very quickly, we don't have very much time. So let's talk, when does the kid between grade 8 to grade 12, or when they are between ages 11 or 12 to about 18, when do they get recruited into gangs? And how does that happen?
Okay, it's youth, okay? Well, the key to understand is, especially in the environment of Surrey, where students at grade...
Thank you, Dr. Lal. Have a pen and paper ready because we have some announcements that you might be interested in. Canada/USA Khalsa X Students Reunion is taking place at Bollywood Banquet Hall in Surrey on October 1st at 5 p.m. For more information, contact 604-537-5123. Tickets are $40 per person, and all proceeds will go to the Khalsa College in Ba, Fiji Islands. Big Society is celebrating its 35th anniversary on September 16th at 6 p.m. at Reflections Banquet and Conference Center in Surrey. All proceeds will go towards the Guru Nanak Diversity Village. For more information and tickets, contact PIX at 604-596-7722. The Cloverdale District Chamber of Commerce is organizing Surrey's Hospice and Annual Golf on September 14th at Northview Golf Club. This event allows sponsors and supporters to come together for a great round of golf and first-class dinner. For more information, call Anne Robertson at 604-574-9802. Car Rally and Walk for Drugs and Gang Free Surrey is taking place on August 18th at 9 a.m. From the PICS office to City Hall. 11 a.m. a rally would be at Surrey City Hall. And after that, it will take place at Holland Park, where they have speakers, education, and some activities. So for more information, contact events at pix.bc.ca or contact them at 604-596-7722. SAHAS Community Service Society provides a helpline for people who are in crisis and need to talk to someone. They offer critical support information and resources for individuals and families in need. The number is 604-900-9221. Everything will be kept confidential. The Canadian Federation of Fiji Organization is hosting their second annual Community Awards Gala on Sunday, October 16th at Kana Banquet Hall. Nominations are open for Community Leader Award, Organization Leader Award, Innovative Business Award, Youth Volunteer Service Award, Golden Anniversary, and the Sanitarian Award. Deadlines are August 31st. For more information and applications, visit www.cfofo.ca or contact Shannon Permal at 778-709-2853 or email at info.cfofo@gmail.com. If you have any events that you'd like to promote on our show, please email us at asianpulse@gmail.com. We are running out of time. I hope you enjoy the show as much as I did bringing it to you. If you would like to be a sponsor on our show, contact Camilla Singh at 604-537-5123 or send an email at asianpulse@gmail.com. Before I go, I'll leave you with these thoughts. If you want to see the brave, look to those who return love. If you want to see heroic, look to those who can forgive. Credit by Bhagavad Gita. If you missed our show today, you can watch it again at Thursdays at 8:30 and Saturdays at 5:30 p.m. on Channel 4 and Channel 10 in Calgary. Thank you for spending the part of the day with us. I'm your host, Shivangni Naiker. Stay safe and stay healthy.